Welcome to Gemini season, guys. We are going to take a peek at your love life, see how your partner's feeling about you, any important actions you need to take for the month, and overall, I'm just going to cover a couple things as far as major things going on in astrological, aspects. If you've got some big projects going on, especially if you're seeing this towards the end of anytime in May, before you get to the beginning of June, make sure if you've got some big projects that you're really working on, get things kind of in order and organized. They don't have to be perfect, but there is kind of a wrapping up energy happening that first week in June. So I would recommend, if you have any last minute things that you need to do, just to kind of work on that so that you can be in the best position for that, because apparently whatever it is you're working on has definitely been very important to you and has a pretty big reward for you. So I would definitely check those details. Speaking of checking details, towards the middle of the month, we've got some new things happening. So, I wouldn't make yourself super busy at that particular point where you're just kind of overwhelmed. I would just kind of make sure you're double checking those details and don't overdo it. Okay, you don't want to overdo yourself during that time. Make sure if you need some grounding, you're doing that. And then we've got some nostalgic stuff kind of happening. Deeper rooted conversations taking place around the 18th of the month. But those are times when I would recommend to stay very mature and realistic with those conversations. I wouldn't exaggerate. I wouldn't, sell yourself up in any kind of a way. I would just stay really practical and realistic in that. And then towards the end of the month, we've got a really good opportunity to just kind of take the lead on certain aspects that you've been, these bigger pieces that you've been working towards, bigger goals, things that you've been really trying to get going. There is going to be kind of an oomph in that direction with a major transit, basically. So when we have those major transits, we've got new opportunities coming. So keep that in mind. The major transit is Mars enters Aries. So that does make sense, just because Aries has a lot to do with those things that you've been pondering on and thinking about, putting all that energy into manifesting, and now we've kind of got some of those answers coming to by the end of the month. So if you've been waiting for some bigger answers, I would say some of them should be coming in by the end of the month. If you want to look at your personal situation, please do so. Remember, this is a general reading, guys, so take with this and leave the rest. All right, let's get into it. All right, Geminis, happy birthday. Even though we're not in June yet, but as you're reading this, it is still your birthday month. I mean, I take a whole month for my birthday month, but so I don't think that last month I had this particular deck of cards. I'm super excited about it. I love it, love it, love it. It just gives a really cool, gives very cool messages, but it also gives kind of an interesting time period, because they have to do with the moon phases. So I've been using them as well for kind of, if I'm wanting to predict a certain, time frame, this particular deck gives a really good perspective of that. It's the Moonology deck if you're interested. Now, my first question here for you is just kind of where the current relationship is at the moment. What is the relationship like currently at this moment? That's what I meant to say. A personal issue reaches resolution. I'm sure you can see that. So if there was any kind of conflict going on or question about something, things that you might not sure maybe where the other person was standing with things or how to handle a certain situation, I do see that coming to a resolution as we get into June, all right? Let's see if I can get a clarification on that. Three of Pentacles. So maybe you have been trying to work with someone, but there's just been kind of a neglect. Maybe this other person's made it kind of difficult. They've had their own things going on. Maybe you've had your own things going on and you haven't been able to participate. Whatever the case may be, there's a new cycle beginning. In this case, a new romantic cycle. So it actually catches a lot of attention here. It catches a lot of emotions. Whatever this shift is, it's a big shift when it comes to your relationship. So if you were wondering if this was going to go somewhere, or if whatever it is that you've been hoping would, turn into reality, I do see that is taking place at this time when it comes to your partner, okay? Now, how they are currently feeling about you and what to kind of expect. Okay. So perhaps your partner wanted to indulge in something, or get your attention in some area, or they've been, whatever it is. They've been wanting your support. They've been wanting you to just kind of accept the situation, accept what they're trying to do, accept what they're trying to say, whatever, without difficulty. And whatever this is, because you have given some compassion and some patience and kind of, compromised in a way, you're getting a lot more reward out of this than you think, because your partner sees that as a really big transition in what you're willing to do just for their satisfaction. And you don't always have to be right, or you don't always have to fight the grain, you don't always have to argue the situation. So it's making a big impact on your partner as well. Now where's this headed? What kind of no matter what, you see the bigger picture of a loving and just universe vision. So it's going into like a bigger picture. The bigger picture is, it's more than just who's right or debating the situation. Sometimes it can just be about making each other happy, right? And that's kind of what your partner is getting that sense of, actually, you do care. It's not always about being right. And it could be vice versa, don't get me wrong. A win-win is in forecast. So what to expect was what this card was supposed to represent. And a win-win is always a good answer. So even if it's difficult to, refrain from, trying to exaggerate the situation, because Geminis do tend to do that. I mean, you guys are very, very witty, and you're just got anything and everything you could possibly want to say. Geminis just got it in the bank, right? And this is kind of one of those times where you just might want to keep it all in the bank, and then it'll be in your favor regardless. So you still get to win out of the situation, and maybe some of you needed to hear that, okay? Because it's not going to be worth you fighting that one, okay? Is what I'm seeing. Now, what is the best and recommended way to communicate here? Live in the moment and bring forth that energy of love in that current circumstance. Again, so rather than being right, rather than trying to prove your point, just let this other person be right and just kind of go with it for this one particular time. So maybe they're feeling like they're kind of in the inferior position to you, and they really just want to kind of get things in a more of an equal position, and how to maintain that balance in the relationship this month. We've got affirmation for acceptance. So, accepting who they are. Maybe there's been something that has been kind of bugging you, and they've been on like a mission to try to prove that this is just the way I am, or whatever. You accepting it and just letting it go and leaving it alone is definitely going to bring about a much more positive situation. This is how you're going to have to maintain the balance if you really want this to become stronger. And that's the best piece of advice for that one. Gratitude and thanks at the bottom of the deck. So again, I think you're going to get more out of this than you think. Sometimes it's not about, because it looks very egotistical and it's in other people's idea, or in other people's perspectives, when all it is for you is just you've got a lot more going on in there than some people do, and you've got a lot more perspectives and logic to go with it, and some people have more emotional base to go with it, and so there's a lot of butting heads there. Whatever the topic is in this particular deal, and maybe just for the month, maybe just give your partner a little bit of those, just let them win a little bit, basically. And I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised that even if it looks like you're letting them win, you're actually winning double. So keep that in mind, okay? And I hope that helps. I hope it resonates. If you want to look at your personal situation, all the information on how to book a reading is down below. Much love, you guys. Have a great month.